David Silva. What do you think of when you hear this name? A Spanish great? A Manchester City legend? One of the greatest midfielders of this generation? There are many ways we can recall David Silva, but nobody can deny his impact on the game. Part of one of the greatest generations of Spanish football, David Silva had many nicknames. Merlin, Almago, the Magician. He reached incredible heights in his decorated career. But how did he do it all? This is the story of David Silva. Consider subscribing to our channel. It's free and helps us a ton. Thanks. David Silva was born in Arguineguin, Gran Canaria, Canary Island, to Fernando Jimenez and Eva Silva. A quiet boy, he showed a love for football from a very young age. From the tender age of 8, he showed such aptitude for football that his father, Fernando, would sometimes leave him in charge of Santa Agueda, a semi-professional football club that he coached. His grandmother, Antonia Montes de Oca, says, "Little David played with potatoes and oranges in front of the house when he was 4 or 5. Sometimes I threw him out of the passageway because he was driving me mad by always shouting, 'Football, football, football.' Because of that, I started making him balls of rags just to avoid him going outside to kick fruits." At the age of 8, he moved to play for UD San Fernando in Maspalomas, where he played till he was 14. He started as a goalkeeper, but later became a winger and built his game around his idol, Michael Laudrup. During this time, Real Madrid kept tabs on the young prodigy, Vicente del Bosque, who would later coach Silva as part of the successful Spain team, was in charge at the Bernabeu and told Silva's dad Jimenez, quote, "The kid has ability, potential. He has vision," end quote. But Jimenez made it clear that his son was too young to leave home. "I've not brought him here to stay. If you think he's a player you might be interested in, he can go back to his town and you can monitor him." He was 12 at the time. He soon joined Valencia's academy and joined the junior player division of the club. He remained in Valencia's youth setup till he was 17. He played for Valencia B team for the 2003-04 season, marking his senior debut. The 2004-05 season saw David Silva promoted to the first team and made his debut with Eibar on loan from Valencia. They were in the Segunda division at the time. Thus marked the beginning of a remarkable journey of the Magician. The very first season of his senior career saw Silva make 35 appearances in the Segunda division, scoring 5 times and helping Eibar finish 4th in the division. The then 18-year-old was already starting to make waves. The next season, Silva was sent to Celta Vigo on loan. In yet another successful season, he played 34 games in La Liga, scoring 4 goals and assisting 3. He started 31 of those games. The best part was that this was Celta Vigo's return season in La Liga. So, not only did they have a successful return to top-flight football, but they finished 6th, thus qualifying for the UEFA Cup. He returned to Valencia with his reputation enhanced, and at just the age of 20, he had become an integral part of the Valencia squad. For a lad so young, Silva became the backbone of the Valencia squad. In the next 2 seasons, he only missed a total of 6 games in the league, playing 70 league games, scoring 9 goals and assisting 10. He also won his first trophy in Spain, Copa del Rey, in 2008. But the next season showed him the other side of football. He was out for 3 months with an ankle issue, and through the season could only make 27 appearances across competitions. However, even with limited time on the field, he was instrumental in Valencia qualifying for Europa League that season, scoring 4 goals in the league. 2009-10 season saw his career best goals haul, scoring 8 in 30 appearances in La Liga with 6 assists. He also scored a goal and 3 assists in the Europa League, making this his best season in terms of stats so far. Meanwhile, he also made his senior international debut for Spain in 2006 against Italy in a 1-0 win. Soon, he became an international regular too. He started 5 of the 6 games in the UEFA Euro 2008. He scored his only goal of the tournament against Russia in the semi-finals, finishing off a low cross by Cesc Fabregas. In the final, he was involved in an incident with Lukas Podolski. After he had pulled the German striker to the ground, there was an angry exchange of words between them, and while the ref let them go without punishment, the Spanish coach soon subbed him off. Spain, however, did go on to win the Euro 2008 final 1-0, winning their first major title for 44 years. Silva was also included in the FIFA World Cup 2010 squad, but played very little, starting only once and making a substitute appearance against Germany in the semi-final. Spain went on to win the World Cup too, making it 2 major titles in the span of 2 years. The clubs across Europe had started taking notice. The 24-year-old was attracting interest from across Europe. Yet again, the front-runner to sign him was, yes, you guessed it right, Real Madrid. Guardiola, who was at the time the head coach of Barcelona, too admired him. The current City boss said, "When I was at Barcelona, I'd say, how good is this guy? I'd love to have him here." However, the club that landed David Silva was the Nouveau Riche club from Manchester City. Yes, Manchester City signed David Silva for a reported £24 million. At the time, Manchester City hadn't really performed as they would have liked with the investments they made. So why did Silva choose a club that had gone trophyless for 34 years before the season instead of one of the biggest clubs in Spain? In an interview years later, Silva revealed, and I quote, "First, because they bet heavily on me. I felt their trust and support from the first call between us. Then, because they actually told me in those conversations that the sporting project they were planning would be what it is in the end." End quote. There's also a story about how Real Madrid were in for him, that they were on the verge of signing him, but the president pulled out at the last minute, citing Silva's, quote, "failure to comply himself with the necessary dignity while donning the renowned white shirt," end quote. As it turns out, the reason why Real Madrid decided not to go ahead with signing was his drinking and partying lifestyle. Either way, Silva was now part of the Manchester City. City at this time were on an acquisition spree as well. Silva joined the likes of Yaya Toure, Mario Balotelli, Jerome Boateng, Kolarov, Milner and Edin Dzeko, all tasked with taking City to the next level. And to the next level they went. The 2010-11 season saw Manchester City win the FA Cup. It ended a 35-year trophy drought for the club. Silva was a major contributor in the midfield. His stats may not look stellar, but he still scored 4 goals and assisted 7 in the Premier League in 35 appearances. He also scored a goal each, the FA Cup and Europa League, and provided 2 assists in the former, making it a total of 19 goal contributions in the very first season in England, the very definition of hitting the ground running. But it was the next season when Silva truly came into his own. The Premier League was decided by the thinnest of margins this season. City's first league title in 44 years. We have covered the famous Aguero goal and how dramatically Manchester City ended up winning the Premier League this season. Do take a look. Silva was instrumental in Manchester City winning the league, scoring 6 and assisting 15 goals. He was the topmost assist provider in the league that season, but his most important assist may have come on the final day of the league when he took the corner that Edin Dzeko headed in, drawing City level with QPR with only injury time to play. The rest, as we know, is history. Another notable performance from this season was in the 6-1 demolition job of Manchester United at Old Trafford, where he scored the 5th and assisted the 6th. The overall performance earned him the Man of the Match award. Later, Ferguson called this, quote, "worst result in my history." In an interview with broadcaster Sky Sports, he commented, Quote, "It was our worst ever day. It's the worst result in my history ever. Even as a player, I don't think I ever lost 6-1, end quote. Roberto Mancini, City's then manager, compared Silva with Xavi and Iniesta, his Spanish teammates. Such was his performance during the season. Silva carried his stellar Manchester City form into the UEFA Euro 2012. He started all 6 games for Spain, scoring twice and providing 3 assists in the tournament. His best performance in the tournament came against Republic of Ireland, where he scored a goal and provided 2 assists in a 4-0 win. His most important goal of the tournament, however, came in the 14th minute of the Euro final against Italy when he headed home a Fabregas cross. Spain ended up winning the final 4-0, giving Silva and Spain the 3rd major international trophy in 4 years. He was the joint highest assist provider and was also included in the team of the tournament. Silva's exploits in the Premier League continued in the 2012-13 season. Once again, stats don't reflect how important Silva was to City. Did not win any trophies this season, and Silva ended up scoring 5 goals and 11 assists across all competitions. The furthest City could get in the hunt for a trophy was the FA Cup, where they went through Leeds, Barnsley and Chelsea to reach the final against Wigan Athletic. However, in what was one of the biggest upsets ever, Wigan ended up beating City 1-0. This also proved to be the end of Mancini's time at City. Managers changed, but not Silva's contribution to the team. This next season was tougher for Silva though. Due to various injuries, he could only make 27 appearances in the league. Despite that, his performance didn't suffer as he scored 7 goals and provided 9 assists in the league. City went on to win the Premier League. They also won the EFL Cup, doing the domestic double. This EFL Cup win was their first since 1976. Silva was part of the Spanish team in the 2014 FIFA World Cup, which proved to be a disappointment for the national team. Spain was knocked out in the group stage itself after they lost the first 2 games 5-1 and 2-0 to the Netherlands and Chile respectively. Silva was one of the few bright spots for Spain in the tournament, creating 7 chances, the highest by any Spanish player in this World Cup. He carried this form in the 2014-15 season. He scored his career high in a season, that is 12 goals. This was also his highest tally of goals in a single league season, as all the goals were in the Premier League. Manchester City ended up runner-up in the league. His performances earned him a contract extension. However, the next season turned out to be a disappointment by his standards. An ankle injury curtailed the number of games he could play through the season, making only 24 appearances through the league season, scoring 2 goals and providing 11 assists. City's league form was abysmal, barely finishing 4th. But the Champions League is where City improved massively, making it to the semi-finals, City's deepest run in the competition till that time. However, Silva, who was looking great through the Champions League, injured his hamstring in the first leg of the semi-final against Real Madrid and had to come off early, meaning Pellegrini lost the talismanic midfielder for the second leg of the semi-final at Santiago Bernabeu. Pellegrini lamented his loss and admitted that it disrupted his team. City lost the second leg, ending their best run thus far in the competition. This also spelled the end of Pellegrini, who was already informed of his departure mid-season. Silva ended the campaign with just 4 goals and 12 assists across all competitions in 36 appearances, a far cry from his performances in the previous seasons. A big change in Manchester City's managerial setup was about to happen. But before that, Euro 2016 rolled in. This proved to be Silva's best international tournament thus far. While stat-wise, he did not score any goal or provide any assist, he was one of the most important creative forces for Spain in the tournament, making 3.3 key passes per 90 minutes, the highest in the tournament. He created 6 chances against Czech Republic in the first group game, was an instrumental player in Spain winning 3-0 against the Turks, which earned him a standing ovation by the spectators when he came off. And though Spain lost to Croatia in the final group game 2-1, he provided the through ball to Fabregas that resulted in a goal and later earned a penalty for his team which Ramos missed. Spain were eventually eliminated by Italy in the round of 16. Back from international duty, Silva was faced with yet another managerial change. There was a storm brewing in Premier League. Pellegrini was gone and in came Pep Guardiola. According to Pep, he always admired Silva and even wanted him at one point at Barcelona. So now was the chance for Pep to work with the magician. The first season didn't go as planned as City ended the season with no trophies. Something of a shock considering who was at the helm. Despite that, Silva was on top form, scoring 8 goals and providing 11 assists in 44 appearances across all competitions, and was a very important creative force in the midfield. His performances made him Manchester City Player of the Year over the likes of Sergio Aguero and Kevin De Bruyne. He had become an important player in Guardiola's team setup, and his importance only grew from here on. The 2017-18 season was one of the best of Silva's Manchester City career. City broke all sorts of records after a difficult first season under Guardiola, becoming the first team to accrue 100 points in the Premier League and also winning the EFL Cup, making it a domestic double. This was Silva's third Premier League title. City's 19-point gap to second-placed Manchester United is still the record margin by which a team has ever won the Premier League. Silva once again was instrumental, scoring 9 goals and providing 11 assists in the league. He also scored in the EFL Cup final against Arsenal, helping City beat them 3-0. He was nominated for the PFA Player of the Year and was named in the PFA Team of the Year, only the second time he made it to the Team of the Year after the 2011-12 season. All in all, with 10 goals and 14 assists across all competitions, Silva proved he could still do it. However, while on the field this was one of his best seasons, off the field this was one of the most difficult time for Silva. In December 2017, he missed 4 out of 5 games for Manchester City, citing personal reasons due to which he had to return to Spain. On January 3, 2018, he announced that his son, Matteo, was born extremely premature and was fighting day by day for his life. Thankfully, in May 2018, Matteo was reportedly healthy and was allowed to return home. Silva gave a stellar performance against Huddersfield in a 6-1 win with his son and family in attendance. Silva was named in the FIFA World Cup 2018 Spanish squad. He started all the games, but for Spain, this proved to be another disappointing campaign as they crashed out of the World Cup against Russia in a penalty shootout. After the World Cup, Silva announced his retirement from international football, drawing curtains on a career that spanned almost 12 years. He ended up with 125 appearances, scoring 35 goals and providing 32 assists in his illustrious international career. Barcelona legends Iniesta and Xavi praised the midfielder to no end. Iniesta said, quote, "He pulls the strings on the pitch. A brilliant footballer with great movement. He can score, assist. A player who decides a game. He's got so much to his game that I would consider him one of the best ever." End quote. Xavi had similar praise for him. Quote, "He's a spectacular footballer. He has been throughout his career. For the national team, he has been a cornerstone of that generation of highly talented Spanish footballers. David was a vital component and absolutely essential to that team. David Silva is one of the most talented players Spain has ever produced, without a shadow of a doubt." End quote. Vicente Del Bosque, the World Cup winning former Spain coach, called him Spain's Lionel Messi. While his international career drew to a close, he was still a force in club football. The 2018-19 season proved to be another record-breaking one as we saw City sweep all the domestic trophies. They won the Premier League, the FA Cup, the EFL Cup, and even the Community Shield. Silva also achieved a personal milestone this season, scoring his 50th Premier League goal when he scored against Fulham at home. The same match was also his 350th appearance for Manchester City across all competitions. He duplicated his stats from last season, scoring 10 goals and providing 14 assists across all competition, including a goal in the FA Cup final where City beat Watford 6-0. City won the Premier League by a point, with Liverpool pushing them till the final day. On the final match day against Brighton in a must-win game, Silva provided 2 assists, beating Brighton 4-1 and helping City retain the Premier League. This was Silva's 4th Premier League title, his 4th EFL trophy and his 2nd FA Cup. After Vincent Kompany departed the club in 2019, Silva took on the captain's armband. However, on June 26, 2019, Silva announced that he would leave Manchester City at the end of the 2019-20 season. After 10 years of service, Silva was set to leave the club where he had become a legend of football. While the pandemic-affected season was a disappointing one for City, Silva still performed as his usual self. He won his only trophy as the captain of Manchester City when City beat Aston Villa in the EFL Cup final, his 5th EFL trophy. On July 26, 2020, Silva played his final Premier League game for City in the final win over Norwich City. City finished 18 points behind Liverpool and was knocked out of the Champions League by Lyon, which proved to be Silva's last game in a Manchester City shirt. Despite City's underwhelming performance, Silva did well, scoring 6 goals and assisting 11 across all competition. This earned him a place in the PFA Team of the Year for the 3rd time in his career. In August, Manchester City chairman Khaldoon Al-Mubarak announced that David Silva would have his statue installed at the stadium along with Sergio Aguero and Vincent Kompany for the transformational contribution to the club. The statue was unveiled on August 28, 2021. In an emotional goodbye message to the Manchester City fans, Silva said, quote, "They have shown me so much respect, and respect is the most important thing for me. They have shown me and my family respect wherever we go and then on the pitch too. I'm very grateful for all of this. I just want to say thank you to all the supporters, to the club, to the workers here at the club, because they have made my life much easier and I'm grateful for that. I will be blue forever." End quote. One of the longest and most fruitful chapters in David Silva's career had come to an end, but Silva still had something left in the tank. Silva himself believed that he still had 5 years on the top, injuries permitting. Various clubs still wanted the wily veteran on their team. Lazio seemed to have won the race to sign him, as reports emerged of him agreeing to join them on a 3-year deal. However, in a shocking move, on August 17, 2020, Real Sociedad announced that Silva had agreed to join them on a 2-year deal. His first game back in La Liga after 10 years was none other than Real Madrid, where he came off the bench in a 0-0 draw. Throughout the season, Silva kept proving that he was still an asset. He scored his first goal for Real Sociedad in a 4-1 win against Celta Vigo. He provided 2 assists in a game against Alaves that La Real won 4-0, making him the only player this season to provide 2 assists in 2 different games, the first being against Huesca. His season was heavily affected by injuries and he ended up playing only 21 league games, but his impact was still pretty visible. He ended with 2 goals and 5 assists across all competitions. On April 3, 2021, he also participated in the 2020 Copa del Rey final against their closest rivals Athletic Bilbao, which was postponed by a year due to the pandemic. He played 84 minutes and received a standing ovation on being substituted. Real Sociedad won the final 1-0, winning their first major trophy since 1987. This was Silva's second Copa del Rey. La Real finished 5th in the league. The 21-22 season was again tough for Silva, who struggled with fitness and only played 25 league games, scoring 2 goals and providing 4 assists. This time, La Real finished 6th in the league. What came after was something no one was ready for. The 2022-23 season proved to be the last season of Silva in football. he had a few injury issues and played 34 games, scoring 3 goals and providing 5 assists across all competitions. But what came after was something no one was ready for. In the pre-season of the next season on July 21, 2023, he ruptured his ACL. Just 6 days later, he announced his retirement from football, drawing curtains on what was a legendary career at the age of 37. He posted on his Twitter, quote, "Today is a sad day for me. Today it is time to say goodbye to what I have dedicated my whole life to. Today it is time to say goodbye to my colleagues who are like family to me. I will miss you very much. Thank you because you have made me feel at home." End quote. In a senior career that spanned 20 years, he made 747 appearances across all clubs and 125 appearances in the international arena and ended up winning 1 FIFA World Cup, 2 UEFA Euros, 4 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, 5 EFL Cups and 2 Copa del Reys. His career is an interesting case study for a diminutive player who succeeded in a demanding league like the Premier League, a testament to the quality of David Silva. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola said, quote, "In my first year at City, I talked to him about how surprised I was that he came to the Premier League, a league so physical, so tough, so imposing, with this climate, this style of football, how he was able to survive or adapt and do it so well." End quote. So, what were the ingredients for his success? Silva's biggest quality is his intelligence. He's one of the most intelligent attacking midfielders to ever play the game. He enjoyed operating between the lines, whether it be in the center or as a number 8, where he had the liberty to exploit the spaces between the opposing fullback and central defender. His exemplary vision and awareness of spaces and movement of his teammates enabled him to consistently break the lines with perfectly weighted passes. He wasn't the paciest player, but his game rarely depended on raw pace. His ability to decelerate to the point he could come to a total stop helped his game immensely. This allowed him to make unpredictable stops and turns and open new passing lanes. His first touch was also sublime, and coupled with his agility, he was one of the most press-resistant players in football. He could easily turn away from intense pressure, especially in advanced positions. His off-the-ball contributions regularly involved him supporting attacking play, particularly in central areas, and he excelled when recognizing how and when to move behind his marker, making him effective in helping build team moves, particularly given that he could play off one touch against deep, compact blocks. David Silva proved that size didn't matter. He proved that success comes in all shapes and sizes. He is without a doubt one of the greatest players to don a football shirt, but also one who's highly underrated. His name should always be mentioned with the players in the upper echelon of footballing greatness. Such has been his impact on this game. Thank you for watching. Like if you liked it, share if you find it worthy, and subscribe for more content like this. This is Salty Football.